We're doing lesson 3.4, and we're going to call it part 2. And this is Algebra 2, lesson 3.4, finding the equation of a line. Okay? And example 1 is the first of several scenarios. The scenarios include if you have a point and the slope, which is the angle of the line. Okay? You have scenario 2 where you're given 2 points. And you have scenario 3 where you're given the slope and the y-intercept. How do you solve and find an equation given those scenarios? So the first scenario is a slope and a point given. Okay? Given this reality, there is a certain technique you must use. And it uses what is called the point slope form, or the point slope equation, which is written as follows. Y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x1. Okay? Now, in order to show that to you the most conveniently, I'm going to give you an example that I have here. So let's just say I have the point, and the point is, let's see here. The point is 2, 1, and the slope, otherwise known as m, is -1. Okay? So I have the point and I have the slope. The values you are given here are the x, y coordinates. The x, y coordinates are what you are going to plug in to the equation above. And the way you plug them in is as follows. Y minus what you've been given, which is a 1, is equal to the slope. Did we get a slope? Yeah. -1. Very good. There's our slope. -1 times x minus, and what you are given is the x1 data, otherwise known as 2. Okay? Now, there's not a whole lot we can do at this stage of the game until we clean up or distribute the -1 over the 2 values within the parentheses. Okay? So far, so good? So, -1 times x is -1x, otherwise known as -x. -1 times -2 is a +2, right? All of that is equivalent to y minus 1. Okay? All of that is equivalent to y minus 1. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the lesson, they want you to give the equation in what is called standard form. Okay? So standard form is some kind of x plus or minus some kind of y, which equals a number. Okay? That is standard form. And the reason why I said plus or minus is sometimes that could be a negative value there. Okay? So right now I don't have it in standard form. I'm going to have to get it there though. I always start with a positive x. Okay, I want my x to be positive. So if it were, I would leave it on this side. But since it's not, I'm going to add it so that I now have x plus y minus 1 on the right. Okay? But I want my number to be on the right-hand side in the C position. So I'm going to take this 1 and add it to both sides. So the x's canceled out on the right, the 1's canceled out on the left, and you should have x plus y equals 3 as your value using point slope form when you have a slope and a point. Okay? That's just another example of example 1. All right? Example 2. Remember, this is our second time through this. If this is only your first time through this, this might be a little difficult. But example 2, it says, what if you have 2 points? So if I have 2 points, let me find an example. I want one that's kind of interesting. Here we go. 2 points. So I'm going to do 4, -5, and 1, -4. Okay? 4, -5, and 1, -4. So, like the above version, I have a point, but I'm missing a slope. Right? Can I find a slope using what I have? Awesome. So you can do change, sit up in y, over change in x. Change in y over change in x. And you could just throw those 2 y's on the top, throw those 2 y's on the bottom, find the difference. So I'm going to do that. So -5 minus a -4, which becomes plus, right? That's my change in y over, same order, 4 minus 1. So I should have a -1/3. Would you agree? Okay. So then m equals -1/3. Okay, so this was a -1, this was a 3. I translated that and put it right there. -1/3 is my slope. Now I can solve the same way I did in example 1 using point slope form. Plugging in whichever pair of digits that you like and using the slope that you've been given. You guys want to do 4 -5 or 1 -4? 4 -5, thank you. So the formula starts out as y minus y1 equaling slope x minus x1. All right? So y minus, what is this, a -5? So that makes it a plus. Right? Y minus a negative makes it a plus. Equals -1/3 x minus x is 4. All right? Okay. So we can distribute this as it sits, or we can multiply everything by 3 to get rid of that. Paul, you want to go to the office? You pay attention, sir. We're going to multiply both sides by 3. Okay? In doing so on the right, this makes this, well, I'm going to multiply it by a -3 actually. That way it becomes a positive. All right? That times that makes a +1. Okay? -3 over 1 times -1/3 is a +1. A +1 by both of these things is x minus 4. Okay, do you guys see how that works? -3 over 1 times -1/3 is a +1. +1 times x is x. +1 times -4 is -4. Okay, now this -3 over here causes this to become negative. See, there's nothing canceling it. -3y, -15. Okay? I want to keep my x positive, so I am going to add my 3y, eliminates y from the left, brings it over there. I'm going to add my 4, and I should have -11 equals x plus 3y. Let's see if I got the right answer here. -11 equals x plus 3y. Okay? So if you have a fraction and you want to deal with it, great. But I prefer simply multiplying by its reciprocal on both sides. That clears your fraction on the fraction side, but simply brings a whole number into the other side. It's easier to work with whole numbers than it is to work with fractions. Okay? All right, so that is example 2. Example 3. Turn in the page. Remember, this is all going to be on video. If I can get it uploaded tonight, I will. Otherwise, it'll be uploaded in the near future. I know that doesn't help you, but the plan is that I'll be able to upload these every night. Okay? Example 3. We have slope and y-intercept given. So if you have slope and you have y-intercept, the slope-intercept form, which is listed there in the gray box above example 3, is y equals the slope times x plus the y-intercept. Okay? Y is equivalent to the slope times x plus where the y-axis is intersected. Now, the example they gave you, we've already done. Let's just say I do, let's do slope is 1/2. Y-intercept is 3/2. Okay, now something to recognize for you is when you take a formula from slope-intercept form and convert it to standard form, you can't have any fractions. Okay, so to start with, we're going to plug in m here, and we're going to plug in b here. Okay, so y equals 1/2 x plus 3/2. Okay, lucky for us, our fractions both have the same denominator, so we don't really have to think too terribly hard. In order to convert this to standard form, we're going to go through the motions of getting rid of these fractions. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. Okay, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So by multiplying by 2, 2 times 3/2 becomes 3. 2 times 1/2 becomes 1. 1x to be exact. 2 times 3/2 became 3. 2 times 1/2x became 1x equals 2y. Finishing up, let's get our constant on one side and our y on the other by subtracting 3 and subtracting 2y. I do all that on the same line. I assume most of you can as well. The 3's canceled, the 2y's canceled, leaving me -3 equals x minus 2y. -3 equals x minus 2y, or x minus 2y equals -3. Okay? X minus 2y equals -3. That is example 3. Okay? Example 4 is going to take a little time, so we're going to stop right here and pause, and I'm going to start again